You know, we all talk about exciting cricket matches being like pot boilers and thrillers. I think it's more like a mystery novel. The question to be asked here is, how do New Zealand win a cricket match? Who's going to answer that? It's a big mystery. We don't know yet. Hopefully, through the course of the show, we'll try and dig out some answers on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Gentlemen,
I don't know if we know the answer, but New Zealand don't know the answer. To get into a super over, 18 runs, 18 balls, 7 wickets. How do you get into a super over from there? Last over starts 7 runs. I think their minds were just scrambled. And I thought that was the difference between the two teams at the end. Under pressure, look what KL Rahul and Virat Kohli did, and look what New Zealand did in the 20th over of the main game. Even got only 12, got those 12 or 13 because India put down 2 catches. So, no, they can't play.
I mean, this is what happened before. And you could see 18, 19, 20, when you've got runner ball, 6 wickets in hand, it's all cruising. You're finally saying 7 wickets in hand. You're finally saying, okay, they're going to put 1 on the board. It's going to be 3-1. And so yet again, they found a way.
This is where you got to bring in that mental side, isn't it? It is nothing. I mean, I don't see any other explanation. I mean, you just need 18 runs of 18 deliveries with so many wickets in hand. For them from that stage to go in super over is simply not acceptable. You know, I mean, 9 out of 10 times you will get home. You will win that match, and that is something which is happening with New Zealand team in this particular series. You know, no matter what they're trying, they're getting in that scenario where the pressure is playing, and they're succumbing to pressure and not able to really close the situation. So that has been the case for them. I think it's become a psychological barrier which they're not able to cross in this particular series.
Yeah, also, if you lose a couple, then you're starting to think, am I going to lose another? And at the first sign of something happening, you start to think, oh, that means I'm going to lose it, because you start anticipating defeat because you've been there so often. So, I mean, this was... What about Saini's 19th over then? Just 4 runs of the 19th over when 11 were needed to set up 7. Shardul Thakur, again there was a boundary. Second ball, again there's a boundary, and how can you bottle?
And you knew the fact that India had to go an over early again to Bumrah, 16 and 18. So Bumrah didn't bowl 19 or 20, and today he was excellent. So New Zealand would have known that the one bowler they attacked in the 6th over to even sort of explode their run chase was Shardul Thakur, and he was going to bowl over number 20.
Well, I mean, you run from wicketkeepers' hands when usually a lower order batsman is batting or a tail-ender is batting, who you know that can't really help the scenario or the situation. And the asking rate was also not that much in that 20th over. So you getting in the process your main batsman out, who could have been man of the match today. You know, he played a brilliant innings. Seifert was looking very good. Daryl Mitchell looked good. You know, it's just about holding your nerves, isn't it? You know, to say, and he's hit the boundary of the first ball. So you know, he's more than a capable batsman. It's just about at that stage under pressure, realizing that you know I can get the team home. It just panic and you are not able to actually own up that situation, wherein I think Indian team is getting more and more confident about closing out these situations. You know, I think this is going to give them immense confidence going forward in terms of knowing that, okay, we are never out of the game. You know, you have to fight till the end, and that's what this shorter format we've seen in the past as well. You know, the margins are so small that you have to believe that you can turn around the game at any stage, and today was a classic example of that. More matches like this for Indian team. I think come that World Cup, you know, when the pressure is high, you know, you often talk about the pressure. Yeah, you know, so you've been in that scenario. You know that how to deal with that in those scenarios. What kind of thought processes you should have, and also more importantly, understanding that the pressure is on the opponent as well, and they can also succumb to pressure. So you know, it's about who deals with that situation better. I think Indian team is getting ahead in that, and it's a great sign for the confidence and the morale of the team as well. If the similar players are put in that situation again, I think they will know better how to deal with that situation.
And I think it's something that India are conscious of, because at the toss, Virat Kohli mentioned that. He said we've had some good victories, we've had some losses which have been crushing losses, but we haven't had enough of these kind of games, and it's good for the team. Now they've had 2 in a row.
I mean, look at 2 shots that to me explain exactly what Zach was talking about about keeping your cool in those situations, about not panicking. One of the first shot that KL Rahul played, bowler bowls a length ball again. He's vanished for 2 sixes. So he's actually gone for 3 sixes in a row in a super over as Southee. He bowls a length ball again. And to me, the fourth ball, where Kohli just casually taps and runs 2. Luckily, he had a quick runner at the other end too, but the call was straight away for 2. And I think that just showed me how much calmer in India were in that situation. Southee was the captain of the day, going and checking with Williamson, should I bowl?
Yeah, you could see that. You could
think
see
it
the
should
body
be
language.
me?
We were asking the question, and they
these
cut to
little
Southee
things
going,
tell you what is the confidence level. Southee has lost 4 super overs in a row. So he's thinking, can I defend 13 here? And he bowls a length first ball. And it tells you just how good India are getting at this game, that KL Rahul is able to capitalize on 2 bad balls, 10, and the game was won there.
But the real question probably was that maybe they didn't say it to him in so many words that we don't have anybody else, so you've got to bowl.
No, I think today I'll have to give it to Saudi. Because he was leading the side, and as a captain, you have to take that responsibility. You're not shirking your shoulders away from the responsibility. So I think if, today, even if he has gone for runs and he couldn't do the job for the New Zealand team, I think I'll give him full marks to own up that responsibility. That okay, I'm the captain of the side. Last super over I've bowled. I may not have a great record in terms of bowling the super over, but today, being a captain, I'm putting my hand up. I'm not letting anyone else take that responsibility. I'm going to be the leader. So I think you have to give him full credit for doing that. But at the same time, know that you will not see Saudi bowling that super over
Again.
if New Zealand again comes in that scenario, because if certain things have not worked for you, you have to try and find a different way of approaching that situation. And I think for New Zealand, it's important that they find someone else to do that job. See if someone else can do it. First of all, you shouldn't be in the super over. That's the whole point. That is New Zealand has been putting themselves in very often.
I remember we were almost chatting off air, thinking when Santner was facing that last ball, what's going through his mind? Is he saying boundary, finish the game, or safer option? Because you can really tell yourself, I can take a single, but a single meant a super over. That's exactly what happened. There was enough time to run the second
but
run. Look at the history of...
Yeah, but why should the batsman be in a situation, 18 of 18,
shouldn't.
of thinking, let me take it to the super over as a good result? Because you've got yourself into a situation where a super over was not such a bad result, because your first priority is ensure you don't lose the game. But you should never, as you said, be in that situation in the first place. But you've got to hand it 18 of 18. Bumrah concedes 7. I thought Bumrah had a good day. That super over, he bowled 1 bad ball. That's it. 1 bad ball. It was fielding for India that took New Zealand to 13. Saini, 19th over, just 4 runs. So these are all great experiences for Saini to be able to bowl that pressure over. Shardul to be able to bowl that last over.
Certainly was. We were all saying that, we don't have a Shami today, but Shardul, well, he stepped up. Not quite the drama of getting a batsman bowled, but look at the record in super overs for New Zealand. They won't want to look at it. So if you're a Kiwi fan, look away. If anyone else, you can look at these stats. Just that one victory against Australia in Christchurch in 2010, every other super over, they've been at the losing end. And 5 of them we know for sure, 4 of them, Saudi has been bowling that super over.
Actually, he's not bowling it again.
He's not bowling it.
It's almost like you tell a striker after a while, he's missed 4 penalties, he's not taking the 5th.
I was just going to give strangely, I was actually going to give a footballing parallel. Will Ross Taylor, I know it's a team game, almost feel like that one guy who's missed a penalty in 2 games?
So Ross Taylor gets out last ball of in the previous game. Now
Here he
starts
sets
the
it up.
rot with the first ball in the 20th over here. And he's the experienced guy, 7 to win last over. He should just be casually, he should be controlling it rather than slogging. So it tells me exactly what Zach said. Maybe there was panic over there, saying 7 runs, oh my God, what are we going to do? All they had to do was do what Virat did, knock the ball 1, knock 2, take it to the 4th ball and win it from there. I mean, it's easy from the studio, but
we could see it. I mean, we could see it. I know, as I said, we are in the comfort here discussing it. It could be a combox comfort. But in the dugout, you could see that there wasn't a sort of confidence that finally we've got it. They were still tense even before.
2 from 2.
I think to me, the main thing is, to get Seifert on the strike. Yes. They've taken a big risk, and I think that's something which tells me that there was definitely panic. I mean, you don't react otherwise, and someone who is good enough, someone who has hit a boundary of the first ball, you won't expect. Yes, there was 1 dot ball, but good players, they soak in that kind of scenario, because actually the pressure is more on the bowler in that scenario. 7 or 8 runs of the last over. How many people are actually saying that with 7 wickets in hand are actually saying that okay, the team batting is going to end up in a super over. And that too, your main bowler is not bowling. He has finished his quota of overs. So I think there are enough hints which suggest that that New Zealand dressing room there was panic for sure.
That's the point. Daryl, I was just looking at the ball by ball thing on the app. Daryl Mitchell hits a 4, first ball, and then tries to get off strike and get Seifert run out. He's just hit a 4.
Yeah.
He's got to back himself at that point to get another 2, right? At that point, they needed 2 to win after he hit the 4.
Yeah.
And even the last delivery of the match, if you see, it was a wide delivery.
Yeah.
The planning, the thought process was right. Execution may not be to that, but actually Santner helped the bowler there. If he had held his shot, it would have been a wide for sure. That's what pressure does to you. You are actually feeling, you wanting that ball to come and hit the bat, and in the process you're not actually analyzing exactly what the plan is or the scenario is, wherein you if you see the field placement also, that was suggestive of that fact that it's going to be a wide Yorker or a wideish kind of a delivery. So these small little things, when someone able to stay in present and absorb that pressure and get the job done, that's where you see character of a player. I think New Zealand generally in this series are morally down, and nothing they can do about it. It's just about picking themselves up. This series is gone. They have to focus on the one days and the test matches, but they need to revive things as soon as possible. And it's not the game as per se which they have to look into. I think they have to look into characters of players and giving them the confidence and getting that morale high as possible, because they're a decent side. They've shown that 2-0 down in the series. They've shown that character of coming back, but they've not been able to do that last push which is required to get them over the line.
It was given Thakur man of the match?
Yes.
Shardul?
Yeah.
He is man of the match.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Good choice.
Man of the match?
Well,
I know bowled the last over, defended 7.
Contributed to the bat as well.
Scored a few as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, I mean, you think back to the time that's 2 for 33 is what he bowled. Decent figures, but remember, it seems a long time ago that India were 88 for 6 and Manish Pandey held one end together, Shardul Thakur a few blows at the other end, Navdeep Saini as well with a few blows. So it was really an overall effort to get them to a decent score, and then contributed with the ball, and of course that crucial last over from Shardul Thakur. So I guess it was one of those situations, rather than just saying, okay, let's look at the scorecard, Manish Pandey got a 50 high score, give it to him.
Yeah, it was 88 for 6 when Shardul Thakur came out to bat. So he stayed with the batsman,
Yeah.
took the score to 130 odd, and then bowled that last over. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just again a reminder of India's fall of wickets. I think that tells the story of where we even are. At one stage, 88 for 6, they would probably have been happy if they'd been given 140 at that stage, but they took it to 160 plus, and then it turned out to be competitive despite a great effort from Tim Seifert and Colin Munro, getting out at the wrong time, and then all the drama yet again of a super over. But just a little word, we've got Zaheer Khan in the studio about the lengths that India's bowlers have bowled. I think it was Mohammad Shami who pretty much started it off, getting slightly back of a length. Maybe not as many Yorkers as we'd like, but it's a length that has troubled the New Zealand batsmen.
But that's something which I would like to see more and more. It's something which has become very format driven. Like, if you are playing a T20 format, you have to bowl slower ones. You have to bowl Yorkers in those 18, 19, 20 overs. It's not a written rule that, you have to follow that rule book. You have to actually be proactive. You have to go according to the situation and what the conditions have to offer. Like previous game also, there was a good bounce in the wicket, and Shami's strength is that. More than the Yorkers, I think, his strength is to hit that seam really well. And he seemed to be trying a lot of those deliveries in this series, which was not seen from him in the previous matches which he had played. So that's a good sign. I think it's all about experimenting, trial and error kind of a process, understanding what your strengths are, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. At times you have to stick to your strength no matter what the conditions are. and at times you have to go with what is there. If there is a help on offer for into the wicket slow overs, then you go with that. I think, by and large, you got to be open to taking on the challenge, and open to understanding exactly what batsman is also expecting. At times you have to play according to what batsman is expecting. You don't give him that. So I think that's what worked for Indian bowlers in the previous match, and that's what worked in this match as well, which is a good sign. I think they need to continue with this kind of process, and if you are able to get the results in your favor, I think this bravery to continue with the similar kind of process, it just gives you that authority. Like you feel
Many
more
aspects
confident that it can be.
Many aspects we've been talking about leading up to October in Australia, and I think looking at the similarity of surfaces, this could be again a good sign with the preparation for that.
Those will be bouncier, I think.
Bouncier,
harder,
but
bouncier
it's a good-
surfaces, bigger boundaries. So this length might actually be better bowling on those surfaces. So I think these two games are going to stand you in really good stead. Shardul Thakur, remember, is a fringe player yet. He might still become a regular. At the moment, he's still a fringe player. For a fringe player to rise up and deliver an over like that was excellent, to come in 88 for 6. So he's starting to understand what pressure is too. So from that point of view, this will serve India very well. But there's two aspects I think we can't forget. One is Manish Pandey.
Yeah.
He seems to be very good at that number, just staying calm, almost Dhoni style, taking the game as deep as possible and allowing India to get to that 160, which made it a gettable score. But the fielding is a concern.
Yeah, I think it's something worth talking about, because when again you look at the scoreboard of 4 matches, you say India 4-0 up in a 5-match T20I series. Great, we've done everything well. Let's go and have a party at Mount Panganui and finish things off. But I think really they will know that they need to work on it.
I think they've got to go up to Bumrah and say that it is now allowed to hold catches of your bowling. Because how many catches do you drop of Bumrah's bowling? First ball, there could have been a wicket. Third ball, there could have been a wicket. That was the super over there, done and dusted. Instead, you're looking and saying Bumrah's conceded 13, but the fielding is an issue. Ground fielding is an issue. And even today, we mentioned it at the start, no Jadeja, no Rohit. That's two of the better fielders in the side gone, replaced by 2 others who are not as good. Even the catch that Washington took, for a while, you were not sure if it was going to pop out. So I think fielding is a definite issue. And you can't have younger players like Shivam Dubey, like Kuldeep Yadav, these players being slow in the field.
And sometimes it's been even the better fielders. Manish Pandey missed a straightforward run out. Virat Kohli in this series has also put down a fairly straightforward catch. Today we saw one from Navdeep Saini, which really should have been taken. Jadeja the other day again was dropped a very crucial catch.
Well, you're absolutely spot on and right when you said that go out there, celebrate. You deserve every bit of it. But at the same time, you have to carry forward the lessons which you learned from the series. And I think that one area when you're talking about, small margins, and you understood now that, how much impact small margins can have by winning these games. So you have to give importance to small little things. And, when you're giving importance to small little things, I think fielding is a big aspect of that. And that's something which we've seen not in this series. I think it has been going on for last 2-3 series. So it's certainly an area where it can decide the outcome of a match. I mean, going to a super over, imagine there were instances where if they could have closed, or fielding could have come up with that X factor in that scenario or situation, it might have been a 1-run victory. So that's the difference, and that's the margin which you're talking about. So when you're looking at improving, I also felt that the spinners today could have done a better job, in terms of understanding what lines. And I was surprised to see that Chahal actually was not really proactive with that regard, because I rate him very highly in terms of being proactive. Like, he's someone who is always ahead of the game, reads the scenario and situation well. He should have taken a leaf from Sodhi's book today, where, he was looking to spin the ball from the stumps. So actually Chahal today moved away from his strength, or what the condition had to offer to him. And that's something a lesson which he should quickly learn and be proactive if he has been put in that kind of a scenario and situation again, because that has been his strength. I think, today he was a bit more on the defensive side, which I've not often seen Chahal in that kind of a mindset. When Ross Taylor was looking to walk in towards the off stump, go close to that wide line, he still persisted with that wide spinning deliveries.
He was going to.
Yeah, maybe because today's wicket had that extra bounce. In the process of playing that sweep shot or a slog sweep, you actually end up top edging, which would have resulted into wicket. But that's something which he was shying away from, which is not a usual Chahal which I know.
Also, Washington Sundar, I think we've got to decide what his role is. We saw his numbers before start of play. When he's not bowling in the power play, he's worse off. Today's spinner 6 overs for 62. New Zealand spinners were 4 overs for 52 in 8 overs. So I think spin was a bit of a letdown today, but Chahal's delivered so many times that wouldn't be as worried about Chahal. As he says, he's got that presence about him. He seems to know what to do in what situation. The only time I've seen Chahal consistently go is when the ball is wet. But otherwise he's fine. But with Washington, I think there is an issue there. Now we've got to figure out exactly what his role in the side is, because clearly Kohli, unlike Dhoni, Kohli likes pace. Kohli likes to get in with the fast bowlers early on. So if that is the case, then what is Washington's role?
And here he's come in because you're just wanting to give somebody a chance. But if you're really saying that, listen, what is our best 11 to win the game, do you now start thinking of, look, we've got to get Jadeja back in there?
Oh, yes.
Well, I think, see, what they're doing at the moment is, by all means, they have authority to do. Well, you won the series, and you got to put players in different scenarios and situations for you to know exactly what they're capable of. So I think, in this series, when they are stamping their authority on the series, they are allowed to do that. And I think, by that logic, Washington Sundar should be part of the next match as well, and he should be given enough opportunities, because it's the long-term vision which you are looking at, and figuring out the combinations for the big World Cup which we all are talking about, which is still long way away. I think they have enough time to figure things out. Things are looking good. Things are looking pretty settled, and these kind of victories, when you end up on the right side, that certainly gives you that extra boost in confidence as well.
Interesting. Kohli says Sanju Samson was fearless. He's mentioned him in a post-game press conference that he was fearless, and
he also said that he was initially sending Samson and Rahul to open in the super over, but then he said, I went in there because of the experience.
I had to be Virat. Yeah,
it had to be, but at least he's candid enough to admit what discussions went on in that dressing room. But he also said that we are not in this situation often enough, and therefore to come back from a game that you're out of, all you need to do is remain calm, and when you spot that situation, capitalize on it.
Absolutely, and I think it was a right call to send Virat at that stage. I think they've made the right call. You needed that experienced person also to deal with the pressure which we've been talking about, and we've seen how situation can go out of hand if you don't have someone who can deal with pressure and presence of mind in that scenario.
And I think that 2 that he took, I remember before that ball, you were actually asking Virat, come on, take a 2. It's not often that you say that, when you could maybe want more than that.
Yeah, you could take a 4, but India had lost a wicket.
Yes.
So when you have 4 from 4, 4 from 3, it had come down to 4 from
4 from 3, and effectively 9 wickets down, in the sense that that's the last wicket fall.
If you can hit the ball in the gap and take 2, then all of a sudden you're just 1 run away from not losing the game. So 2 was a great shot. I thought that was a fantastic shot. Just hit it slowly enough to be able to come. He called 2 straight away, required a fleet-footed non-striker, because the non-striker was always coming back to the danger end. To me, that showed calmness, that he was willing to think of a 2 rather than thinking, where am I going to hit a 4 from? That he backed himself. I've got 3 balls to score 4 runs. I'm Virat Kohli, right?
Which is exactly what he's mentioned. And, in the spirit of calmness and with everything happening around the super over, I'll be very calm in just pointing out the fact that I'm actually sitting on my 11th circle.
How did you manage that?
Expert couch.
How did you get that?
40 runs prediction.
Yeah.
For the power play.
Yeah.
They were 39. I was 1 run away.
Well done.
Just calmness. I was taking a leaf out of Virat Kohli's book.
Well done.
So much happening around. Nobody cared that I'm actually sitting on it. I just pointed out.
You realize that that's one color you're not wearing.
So I know red.
Red as well.
There you go.
I've got the red watch.
On your watch, you got red. Okay, there you go. You got a rainbow here.
Now we can change the topic. But my 11th circle, ultimate team of the day.
You carry it off, so I'd love to be able to dress like you, but I just can't carry it off.
Fair enough. My 11th circle, I'll take that as a compliment.
It was.
You threw me off. Ultimate team of the day. Let's get it out quickly. Right, there we are. And remember, this obviously refers to the 40 overs of the game. No matter what happens in the drama of a super over, it doesn't really count towards the end. Tim Seifert had to be your skipper today. And you got lots of points from Colin Munro as well. So it was very New Zealand-centric. Even the My 11 Circle Ultimate Team of the Day is screaming out this was New Zealand's game. But somehow, just a few contributions from Team India, that over from Shardul Thakur, that cameo from Manish Pandey, and those runs from Saini and Shardul Thakur, meaning that it went to a super over and India won yet again. So who is our ultimate champion of the day, the My 11 Circle Ultimate Champion of the Day? With 382.25, Alamgir Alam from West Bengal. Good, someone from Bengal is doing it, even though they may not be in the 11.
So your affiliations are out there in the open, right?
Absolutely. No, you didn't hear that. But what it does mean is, yes, you can pinch yourself and imagine that how close this was to being possibly 2-all. 2 super overs. Both the actual games were in New Zealand's favour when they were chasing. In the super over the first time around, they scored enough runs. Here too as well. They looked like they could score a bit more, but it's 4-0 to India. 1 game to go at beautiful Mount Maunganui. Will that beauty actually, take New Zealand to some sort of mental state to be able to come out and win that game? First and foremost, of course, we often talk about personnel at this stage. I don't think the personnel matter for New Zealand. It's the 11 who are out there have to get it right that they can win a game.
They have to have Williamson playing. I'm just thinking, what will India do here? I wonder whether India will get Rohit back. Will Virat take a break, get Rohit back in to lead the side, or will Virat continue to play? They've got to find a way of playing Rishabh Pant in this side. By the way, one thing was made clear today, that KL Rahul is now your number 1 keeper. Yeah. Because they played Samson in the side and Rahul kept wickets today. You've got to give Samson another game. So I wonder whether they'll say, okay, Shreyas has played for a while. Maybe Shreyas goes out and somebody else comes in. But I do think you've got to give Rishabh a game here. So what do you think?
I think they'll go in with the same team.
Same side, you think?
Yeah,
okay.
That's what. Because one game and turnaround is also too short a time. If you're giving someone a go, then it has to be a proper one. And here, 2 matches is the least they can do at this stage. Sanju Samson is someone who is not going to be part of the ODI squad, right?
No.
So this is the game.
But no, assuming Samson stays, would you not then put Rishabh Pant say in place of a Shreyas Iyer, as Harsha suggested?
Yeah, but Shreyas Iyer also is someone who's still figuring out his game. Yeah, I know he still has a long road ahead of him. So I think more you play, better you're going to get. So if at all someone is resting, then it has to be Virat. But then if Virat rests, then Rohit will come back to captain the side. So so that is something which they'll have discussion around and end up having the same team play.
Yeah, well, so maybe that's what we think here, that it could possibly be the same 11. But for New Zealand, again, not too many options to think of other than the obvious change of Williamson's shoulders being fixed enough to be back to captain the side. Otherwise, really, in terms of, haven't seen enough of Daryl Mitchell and Tom Bruce to judge anything at this stage.
Also, the opposition looks at this side and says, right, who's going to win the game for them? Martin Guptill on his day, maybe. Colin Munro on his day, maybe. But those days are not coming that often. Munro got a good 50 today, but the days are not coming very often. So who's the batsman in there that we're thinking can take the game away from them? And you take Williamson out and you're looking at people who could, not people who can.
But also the one thing they may want to look at, and I kept hearing it from the likes of Simon Dool and Ian Smith, is how comfortable Seifert looked at number 3. He opens for his provincial side. Yeah. He enjoyed batting at number 3. So even with Williamson coming back, is there a case for them saying, let's persist with him up there?
I think they still have that number 4 slot which is open. Yeah, so Tim Seifert can actually bat at number 4, which they were trying to get Grandom take up that responsibility and use some power of Grandom there. Seifert is a busy player. I think he's someone who is assured of his game plan. He looks to play a lot through offside. I think if as a batsman there in that middle phase, if you are able to penetrate both the sides, then that really makes difficulties for any bowler. So that is something which they can think of. Kane Williamson, I mean, look at his record. He has to be there at number 3. He's your match winner if he's in. And what New Zealand needs is someone who, once they score 25-30, make it really count. Go to that 80-90 or 100. That kind of innings. And you don't see anyone in that side apart from Kane Williamson to have that kind of impact. So I think number 3 position calls for that kind of a player, and Kane Williamson certainly is fitting that bill. So I would not look to tinker with that. But if you want Seifert to bat up the order, then number 4 is the ideal spot for him.
Just thinking from a trivia perspective, has there ever been a bilateral series with 2 back-to-back super overs? I don't think there could ever have been one.
No. Also, India never won a series in New Zealand before, T20 series, and now they have a chance of making it 5-0. A 5-0, look, T20 matches inherently are closer. Shorter the game, the fewer the differences between the sides. 5-0 in a T20 side is wow. I mean, I know we put test match wins on a pedestal, but 5-0 in a T20.
What it'll also do is, it looked like a huge gulf, the head-to-head, which was 8-3.
Yes.
If it does become 5-0, it'll be 8-all.
Yes. And I mean, 5-0 would be a colossal result for India.
Certainly will be. So we've had a bit of interesting trivia with first time ever 2 back-to-back games going for a super over in a bilateral T20 international series, probably any kind of series really involving T20 cricket. But what about our joy factor question, which we'll come to in a moment? Just a quick reminder once again, there's so many of you playing out there. Sometimes you have trouble with the changes, and today you did. Last minute changes with 3 changes for Team India, couple for Team New Zealand. We will have more changes in the next game, I can assure you that. With Williamson most likely going to come back. India, they have got to think of those fringe players. Are they going to get one more chance? Are we going to have the likes of Jadeja back? Will Kohli rest? Will he not? Well, you've got to tune into the show, figure out exactly what happens, and then make your changes to your My 11th Circle team. Now we can get to Joy, who's been patiently waiting, not physically, but he's been waiting in spirit to give us the answer to his latest brain teaser. A quick reminder of the question, which was, in which batting list featuring just 15 people does Desmond Haynes come in first and a Hong Kong batsman in third? Now we kind of figured with Desmond Haynes being around that it wouldn't be a T20 record, and hence still a white ball record, but these are all ODI debutants in the sense that highest ODI scores on debut. Desmond Haynes had 148 on his ODI debut, and it was Mark Chapman who got in third place. So these are all not technically at the highest ODI scores, but all centurions on ODI debut.
So what's the link with today's game? Mark Chapman has played for New Zealand after he moved from Hong Kong to New Zealand, actually played a couple of games for New Zealand, so maybe there's the link to today's game as well, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's typical of all the associations we have with Hong Kong cricket. We've got Anshuman Rath from Hong Kong who will be playing domestic cricket in India from next year. So it's obviously a very transcontinental side, Hong Kong. Who is our winner of this particular question of centurions and debut? Mohammad Fahad. Mohammad Fahad, 42. Well done jumping ahead of some of our usual suspects. That's what we want more of, because there's so many of you coming in with the answers. It's just about getting that hashtag Cricbuzz Live jumping in early into the queue. So there we have it. 4 matches done in this T20 International Series. The first time India has played a bilateral 5-match series. Already gone 4-0 up. A chance to make it 5-0. All will be answered from lovely Mount Maunganui on Sunday. Gentlemen, we'll see you then.
Yes.
And we will have a little shuffle in the batting order, but we won't mention that for the moment. But we'll keep it in suspense. What we know is Zaheer Khan will be with us, Harsha will be with us, but we don't know which level of the studio they'll be at. All you need to do is tune in for both our language shows and you'll find out who's where. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you all of you for tuning in. We'll see you again Sunday, same time from Mount Maunganui to see if India can make it 5-0.